Hi there, this is Colin, and in this lesson we're going to look at the button module. This is actually one of my favorite ones. So let's go up to advanced modules, and the second one down is buttons. So we can drag the button out onto our canvas or onto our page, and you can put this in any way you want. So you can put it into its own row, do the usual stuff. I'm going to put it in the bottom of this column underneath our accordion from the last lesson. Okay, and it will default to a click here and a blue background. So if we go and look at our settings here quickly, first of all, we've got the text that appears on the button. Right now it's click here, and I'm just going to change that to click now. So we've got click here now. As you can see, the button actually automatically resizes as we type this. So if I put in something like again, you can see it's got a resize there. So let's put it back to there. And the next option is that you can add an icon. So you've got the full range of icons to add here. An arrow here will work. Okay, that will go onto the left of the button there. The next option is the link address of where you want to go when the button is clicked. So I'm just going to put a hash in there just to get us around this demo. It won't allow you to save this even unless you put an address in there, so hence the hashtag. And last but not least, on this first tab is the link target. So right now it's set to open in the same window, but you can have it open in a new window if you choose. So I'm just going to put it back to the same window, and that will be the first tab taken care of. Next tab is where the fun starts happening. I'm going to click on the Style tab. Now the background color is the default color for the button as you'll see it on the page. So right now it's blue. Okay, that's the default color. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to choose something that's nice and bright like an orange. There we go. So that will be the foreground color. Okay, the background hover color, that's really hard to say, is going to be a completely different color in this case, and I'm going to make that, let's make that like a dark blue. Okay, and next thing is we've got our text color. Now this is the text color that is standard on here before it's hovered. So I'm going to change this to, let's change it to black, and then you can see something quite different here. There we go, we've got black text on the orange button, and the text hover color, another one that's difficult to say, I'm going to change that to white. You won't be able to see these effects quite yet. The next one is the gradient. So if I click on yes, you'll see that the gradient adds a very slight gradient on the button. It's a very light on the top and a little bit darker on the bottom. I'll zoom in here and show you that. So I'm going to click on no for the gradient. You'll see that it goes back to a flat style. And if I click it back on again, you'll see that you can see the top get a little bit lighter and the bottom stays dark, so it looks like a gradient. So that's the gradient. I'm going to leave that the way it is right now. Now the width, you've got three options. You've got the auto option, which will automatically size the button depending on two things. First of all, your font size, and secondly, the padding. But let's just go. So auto is auto. Next one is full width. This will actually change it to the full width view of column. So if I click save right now and drag this over to this column up here, it will go to the full width of the page like that. And if I bring it down to one of the smaller columns down here, it will go to the width of the column there. So that's the auto. So that's kind of handy if you want to just put the full width in there. But let's go back in, click on the wrench icon, go back to our style again. I'm going to put that width back to auto. But the last option we've got is custom. So if I move this out of the way over here, it's set at 200 pixels right now. Everything fits in good. Let's just say I want this button to be a little bit bigger. So I can put 300 pixels. So it will go wider, and it will go wider. You can put it as wide as you want, or you can make it a little bit narrower, and that will push the text down onto two lines. That doesn't look very good, but you can see the point. So I'm going to put this back to auto, and auto is probably the position that you'll use most of the time. The next thing is the alignment. Currently it's left, and this is actually the alignment of the button within the column. So it's left aligned right now. If I change this to right, it will go to the right side of the column, and where it probably should be in this one is in the center, is right there. Okay, so the font size is the text size on the button. Right now it's set to 16, so if I change this to 24, because I've got it on auto, it will actually resize the button based on the text size. So I've got a 24 pixel font size, and I have a padding of 12. Now if I increase this padding to something very large, so you can see the point, put it to 30, you can see that I've got a large button with some smaller text on there. So the padding is the space around your text, around there. Okay, So I'm going to put that back to 15. And last on this style page is the round corners. Round corners are the corners of the buttons there. So if I change this to something like 30 pixels, you'll get a very round effect like that. Okay. If I bring it down to 20, it will be slightly less round. And then back down to 10, you'll see that we've got some round corners. But you can mess around with that and make those as round as you want to. I'm going to leave it at 5. Okay, and on the last tab here, we've got the advanced options, the usual things. We've got the custom CSS class. We can choose to display this on different devices if we choose. And then we've got custom margins. So if I want to push that button down a little bit from the accordion, I can add maybe, let's say, 20 pixels. You can see it pushed down a little bit there. If I'm not quite happy about it being lined up completely in the center, I can put some left padding on here and it will push it over a little bit. If I increase that a little bit more, you'll see it pushes over a little bit more there. If I delete that, it defaults to the 20. And last in here is the animation. So if I want some animation, I can get it to animate when the page loads. I'm going to do the animation in another lesson, so I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to click on Save. Let's go and have a look at this in the front end. So I'm going to click on Done. We're going to publish our changes. Now, when I hover over this, it should turn into a blue button with white text, and it does. So that's the button. I hope you've had fun with this lesson. This is one of my favorite tools. You can be very creative with the button colors and the text, and I hope you have fun. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye now.